Lies smell like plastic and sweat. This one smells like leather and tea. Neon bleeds down the street like a fresh bruise, slicking puddles into electric blue. Smoke from the vendor carts hangs low, salted with chili oil and burnt sugar. The crowd outside 9 Circles roars every time the announcer's voice cracks. The night, riding the bass down into the subway bones of the neighborhood. I pocket my scarf against the wind and tighten my grip on the folded warrant. It's warm from my palm, warm from resolve. I don't knock. I push through the revolving door, and the arena breathes me in, metal and chalk, adrenaline, popping like citrus, a base note of dried blood tucked under layers of disinfectant and ego. In here, the rules feel thick. In here, my gift pricks like a needle in the nose. Evening, says the man who is going to be a problem. He's big, not caricature big, not comic book big, but real world big. Shoulders made of answers you didn't. To want height that forces you to tilt your chin if you want to pretend you're not impressed. Ash Drux wears black gloves like he's already promised himself not to touch anything he can't fix. His hair is too neat for a place like this. His gaze is too steady for a city that lies to itself for practice. I show him the warrant. Citywide review, I say. My voice stays flat, a blade on a table. My nose is already working without permission. He smells like leather warmed by skin, like strong black tea poured into a tin mug, like the memory of smoke. He does not smell like plastic. He doesn't have the sting of banana peel fear either. There's something else under that tea. Cool, iron-edged, like the air before lightning. Then review, he answers, and smiles a smile that has shadowed too many basements. I like honest paperwork. Good, I say, stepping to the side so the bouncers can see the seal. Because I like honest buildings. He doesn't move. He is a door that has already decided whether you belong on the other side. Behind him, I catch a flash of the ring, white chalk lines on black rubber, a referee, in a windbreaker mouthing numbers, the teeth of the crowd, open and hungry. Magnesium dust freckles the air, tickling the back of my throat with a powdery, almost peppermint brightness. I'm Kris Fall, I add. Independent investigator. Independent, he repeats, as if tasting the word. Dangerous flavor. He offers his hand. Ash. I look at his glove instead of his eyes. My sense of smell is not just nose, it's skin and breath and memory. If I touch, the world crowds in. If I touch, it's never casual. But I'm here to do a job, and his glove is leather, safe enough. We shake. The contact is a low hum across the bones of my hand. His cologne is not a cologne. It's the kind of clean you get from rinsing off dirt, not from pretending you were never dirty. I'm told, I say, releasing, that missing omegas keep finding their way to your doorstep. He doesn't blink. You found your way to my doorstep. That's different, I say. I walked. Did they run? He asks. The question lands like a coin at the bottom of a well. I swallow once, twice. There is a plastic sour trail in this city. I follow it from intake forms with neat penmanship to private transport, schedules that never reach their destinations, to emergency clinics that smell like bleach and panic. Every road, every whispered name, every debited donation with a too-clean receipt ends here at 9 Circles, where Ash Drux turned muscle into management and sins into permits. I say, they were taken. He studies my face the way you study a lock, mapping edges, inventorying where. I don't take, he says. My gift flares. Not from the word, but around it. Lies smell like hot plastic. The sentence is clean, but something else breathes out of him. Guilt, yes, but tempered, like steel cooled in oil. He is not lying. He is holding. I tilt my head. You reek of lies. Something like surprise flickers behind his collected expression. Not offense. Not even anger. Curiosity. He steps closer, not close enough to be a threat, but close enough that I could, if I wanted, count the fine scuff on his left glove where the leather darkens with use. Tell me, he says, voice lowered to the frequency that convinces people to confess at bars. Where exactly do I reek? He extends his hand again, palm up. Not a demand, an invitation to the pulse. The smallest smile tugs at his mouth, like this is a game he already knows the rules of. It's a bad idea. I do it anyway. The brush of leather against the inside of my wrist is a trigger. The arena dilates. Sound thins to the plucked wire of a bass line. Scent surge, the metallic zing of the ring, magnesium dust like chalky mint, sweat sharp, as crushed nettles, beer and fried onions bleeding under the doors from the concourse. His skin, through the glove, is heat caught in a pocket. And underneath it, inside him, something like clean smoke and cold rain on iron. Not plastic, not the rancid top note of coercion. Guilt, yes. Responsibility, yes. A promise, fresh and unsentimental. I pull back, breath coming faster than I authorize. He watches my chest rise and fall and pretends not to notice. Gentleman of the criminal class. You don't smell like a thief, I say. Tragic, he answers. I've been cultivating the aesthetic. Half a smile escapes me. It slips out like a coin somebody else paid. I tuck it away before it shows. You run this place, I say, because facts help me breathe. Legal fights, legal bets, legal profits, legal headaches, he says dryly. I haven't slept since the city decided vice is useful if it's taxed. He pivots, tipping his head for me to follow. I do. He moves like a wall you can't brace against because it keeps coming. We push through a corridor of concrete that sweats its history in damp strips. The staff hallway is quieter. Coffee rides the air here, burnt and loyal. Soft overhead lights smudge the varnish on a row of clipboards. The deeper we go, the cleaner the smell gets. Not sanitized, disciplined. Look all you like, he says. But you won't find what you came for. I didn't tell you what I came for. Disappearances, he says. You wear other people's fear like a scarf. I touch my scarf out of reflex. It still smells like my apartment, laundry soap and mint tea, a clean that belongs to nobody but me. At a window that looks out onto the main ring. A fight is building in the bones of the crowd. The announcer's vowels have rounded into hunger. On the rubber, a trainer tapes a fighter's wrists, smooth, smooth, smooth. The tape smells like linen glue. The fighter smells like eagerness undercut by something I hate to recognize as relief. Relief stinks when it's the wrong kind. Like you're happy you're here, so you're not somewhere else. I pin Ash with a look. If I ask for your records, will you give them? I like honest paperwork, he says again. But I don't hand my people to knives dressed as clipboards. Then let me be a clipboard, I say before caution can stop me. For a while. He stares. I can feel the choice ticking, a metronome in his jaw. You want a job, he says at last. I want access, I correct. Under a job. We're hiring for reception, he says, with a dryness that makes me think he already knows exactly where I'd sit. Secretary, paperwork, phones, people who shout. I can file and I don't flinch when shouted at. You do flinch when touched, he says, not unkindly. I don't flinch, I say. I recalibrate. He huffs something that is dangerously close to a laugh. The sound tastes like cedar. Low, warm, private. Fine, he says. Stay, work. Look, if you find rot, cut it out. If you accuse me, bring more than your nose. My nose is enough, I say, because I need it to be. Maybe, he says, but I prefer evidence that other people can smell. We stand by the window for a breath longer, the ring, a white circle in a world made of corners. My heart is still too fast. My lungs find the rhythm of the crowd and return it to me, steadier. He puts his hands behind his back, the gloves creaking minutely, the leather releasing a ghost of tannin. He is too calm. He is not calm. He is a man bracing against the version of himself he refuses to be again. I'm not your enemy, Kris, he says, and my name rings like a bell I did not give him permission to ring. I test the air, plastic and sweat. Somewhere in the city, the lie keeps working, but not here. Not in him. The guilt is real and earned. The lie is elsewhere, wearing better shoes. Maybe not, I say. But I'm still going to find out what stinks. Do, he says, and tips his chin toward the offices. Your desk is on the left. Try not to alphabetize my fighters by scent. I wouldn't, I say. You already did, he says, and walks away. I watch him go. The crowd climbs a note. The chalk on the ring gleams like a cut. My scarf smells like home. My skin still buzzes where leather met wrist. I came here to prove Ash Drux was stealing omegas. I decide to stay to find the people who are. The office of 9 circles is glass and chrome pretending to be polite. Big windows look down on the ring like an aquarium viewing panel, while the betting boards tick numbers. In quiet neon, odds flipping, names stuttering to life, cash turning into soundless weather. The front desk is a sleek slab with an ergonomic chair that looks like it was designed by someone who hates spines. A placard waits for me. Kris Fall, admin. Someone has added temporary in pencil and then erased it badly. Don't worry, says the man behind the second desk, not looking up. We only fire on Fridays. He finally lifts his gaze. He's narrow and exact where other people are approximate. Shirt buttoned to the throat, tie disciplined into a perfect line. His pupils are the exact size of his patience. Lis Yan, he says, sliding a clipboard my way. Operations. We will now determine if you are worthy of office pens. The clipboard is heavy. I flip the first page and immediately understand. 40 questions, micro font, multiple checkboxes. Section A, allergies. Question 1. Lis reads, monotone. Are you allergic to latex, peanuts, responsibility, or alphas? I sneezed once near an alpha, I say. Mark. Seasonal. Next. Are you prone to fainting at the sight of blood, numbers, or men named Leon? Why Leon? We've had experiences, he says, shuddering the exact amount necessary to communicate litigation. Moving on. Are you currently or have you ever been involved with a fighting syndicate, gambling ring, book club, or city council? Book club? Concerning, he murmurs, ticking a box. Do you consider yourself easily influenced? No. He ticks another box. Excellent. People who say no are often very cooperative. Do you prefer coffee, tea, or the thrill of denying yourself nice things? Tea, I say, thinking of last night's leather and tea benchmark. Mint. Lis's gaze ticks to my scarf and back. We carry green, black, and we're out. Your desk is left. Your duties include phone triage, calendar discipline, and gently but firmly telling grown men they signed up for the wrong weight class. When in doubt, refer to the manual. He thumps down a binder the size of a pillow. Dust puffs up with the dry sigh of old policy. Do you have any questions? He asks. Will I be expected to alphabetize fighters by scent? I say. He blinks once. Only if it improves morale. The door behind me hisses. A gust of concourse air pushes in. Popcorn, hot dogs, old beer, a whiff of cheap cologne wearing ambition like a crown. A girl with a messy bun skids in on sneakers that have known love and floors. Sorry, Lis. Printer jam, printer war, she reports, breathless and triumphant, like she just wrestled a copier into a headlock. She sees me and brightens by 3 watts. You must be Kris. I'm Mira, front desk / morale officer / the one who knows where the good pens are because I hide them. Welcome to the fishbowl. She sticks out a hand. I hesitate. She clocks it and flips her palm, offering a fist bump instead. We bop knuckles. She smells like citrus shampoo and the innocent kind of coffee. Here, she says, digging into her tote. She produces a small, matte bottle. Neutralizer, everyday strength. Not industrial, so it won't knock you off your feet. 3 spritzes on your scarf. The crowd starts to feel like a parade in your brain. I take it. It's labeled in marker, Mira's everyday miracle with a doodle of a megaphone. I smile before I mean to. Thanks, I say. How much do I owe you? Your eternal gratitude, she says gravely, then grins. And maybe a snack later. Liz, can I steal him for a tour? You may borrow, Liz corrects, as if nouns are sacred. Paperwork returns by 5. Mira leans in just enough to stage whisper. He pretends to be scary, but he alphabetizes his spices. I heard that, Liz says without looking up. She loops me through the front of house circuit. Phones, ticketing, the water cooler that smells faintly of penny metal, the copier room scene of the recent war, the window ledge with a hidden stash of granola bars, emergency carbs, she says. From here, the ring is a sun we orbit. Voices and feet and stakes revolve around it. Every surface has been wiped to an inch of its life. But the building can. Talp exhaling itself, sweat baked into concrete, chalk in the vents. First rule, Mira says, tapping the desk with a pen. Everyone thinks their problem is an emergency. It isn't. Second rule? Smile like a cat. It confuses conflict. Third rule? If Ash walks by, pretend you're busy. He hates when people look impressed. Is he easily impressed? I ask. He's easily responsible, she says. Which is worse. I glance up, because of course he chooses that moment to appear on the mezzanine. The office is arranged so the owner can watch the front without being obvious about it. Which is hilarious, because Ash Drux couldn't be inconspicuous in a hurricane. He's talking to a trainer, profile clean and severe against the glass. When his eyes slide to us, they snag. Just a second, his mouth ticks. There and gone. If I didn't know better, I'd call it a bite to the inside of his cheek. If I didn't know anything, I'd call it nothing. Mira, who knows things, follows my gaze and supplies. Don't worry, he's always like that. Like a mountain hired a tailor. Does he always supervise reception from above? I ask. Only when we hire new people, she says. Or when someone requested to speak to the manager's manager's manager. Which is a real thing that happened, and the man brought a pie. What kind of pie? Cherry, she says, grim. It did not improve his odds. We settle behind the desk. Liz hands me a headset as if it's a ceremonial hat. Phone lines blossom, fights to reschedule, deliveries to sign, one very angry person who insists our parking lot ate his car. I triage, log, and locate like I've been here longer than an hour. The manual helps. Mira helps more. Liz helps most by scaring away anyone who approaches with a form they haven't filled correctly. Every call is its own little weather system, and my nose is barometric. The neutralizer takes the edge off the concourse brew. Mint rises from my scarf in friendly, steady plumes. I breathe through it like a metronome. By midday, my inbox is a canyon. My tea is cold. My neck has learned the contour of the ergonomic chair's disapproval. I look up to roll my shoulders and catch Ash on the mezzanine again. He isn't pretending not to look, not anymore. He's just there, watching the floor, the staff, the slow traffic of small crises, his attention like a hand on the building's back, leather and tea, still. Guilt, still. No plastic. I let myself settle. Busy looks good on suspicion. It keeps the edges from cutting you open. Then it hits, not like a punch, more like a crack in the ice you thought would hold. It arrives as a thin thread at first, sour, high, and brittle, like plastic warmed under a desk lamp. It doesn't match the calls, doesn't match the crowd. It snakes in from somewhere low, sub-level maybe, then widens, a ribbon unrolling down a dark hallway in my head. Mira's mid-sentence, telling me about the emergency granola hierarchy, when I go very still. Hey, she says softly. You okay? I angle my head, letting the thread find me. The betting boards tick. Liz pencils a line through someone's bad decision. On the mezzanine, Ash is a dark cutout against the light. I'm fine, I say, already listening past my own voice. I breathe in. Slow. Smelled something. It isn't him. It isn't us. Somewhere in the arena, fear is leaking like gas. The arena sleeps badly. By midnight, the crowd has thinned to murmurs. The lights have sunk to ember glow, and the air smells like dust cooling after a storm. But Ash Drux is still here. He moves through the corridors below 9 circles like he built them, one slow, measured stride at a time. I follow 3 turns behind, the soles of my shoes whispering over the damp concrete. I've switched off my phone, pocketed my ID, and dialed my breathing down to near silence. He doesn't know I'm here. Probably. The lower halls are different at night. Quieter. The usual cocktail of sweat, beer, and cologne fades. What's left is iron and age, rust, and refrigeration, the kind of smell that clings to secrets. My pulse sinks to the hum of distant generators. The deeper I go, the more the air tastes like metal in my mouth. Ash stops at a door with no label. Just a keypad and a faint mark of chalk above it, half moon, hand drawn. He keys a code, waits for the soft click, and disappears inside. I count 10 seconds. Then I follow. The first thing that hits me is warmth. The second is human scent. Muted but layered, soap, fear, tiredness. Too much fear. It rolls toward me like heat off asphalt. I step through a narrow corridor into a wide, low room. Mattresses line the walls. Blankets folded with military precision. Shelves with bottled water, instant noodles, first aid kits. Not prisoners, refugees. My throat tightens. For a second, I think the air has turned colder, but it's just realization. These are omegas, thin, anxious, bundled into sleep or pretending to. A few pairs of eyes flick open, wide and animal. They look at me like I'm the next thing that's going to hurt them. One of them moves. He's fast, younger than me, hair buzzed short. He comes up from the floor with the reflex of someone who's had to fight to exist. His hands shake, but his teeth show. Before I can raise my palms or open my mouth, he's on me. Desperate, not trained, all adrenaline. The smell of panic explodes in my nose, sour ozone, copper tang. My body reacts before my brain does. I stumble back, hit a crate, and hear a snarl that doesn't belong to him. A hand clamps around my collar and pulls me sideways, out of reach. Enough, Ash's voice says, low but sharp enough to cut through the air. The boy freezes. Every instinct inside the room goes still, like someone yanked the oxygen out of it. I can smell the difference. The switch from fight to flinch. Ash steps between us, solid as a wall. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. You're safe, he tells the kid. He's not one of them. The boy's breath stutters. He drops his hands and backs off. The rest of the room exhales collectively, a tide pulling away from shore. Someone starts crying quietly. Someone else mutters a name into a blanket. Ash turns to me. What the hell are you doing down here? He says, quiet enough that the walls don't echo. I try to find my voice, following the smell of guilt. He almost smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. And I found you. He sighs through his nose, tired more than angry. Congratulations. You've found my biggest crime, keeping them alive. The sentence lands heavy. I take it in. How the fear in the room isn't about him. How their scent changes when he speaks. There's still panic here, but it's the kind that comes after rescue, not before it. I glance around again. Emergency lights, piles of donated clothes, the faint hum of air filtration. None of this looks like a trap. It looks like survival disguised as storage. Why hide them here? I ask, because my voice has to do something. Because no one looks for mercy under a fight ring. he says simply, and because the city pretends not to see what's inconvenient. He steps closer. The room smells of disinfectant and exhaustion. But under it, him, that same blend, smoke, iron, tea. Only now there's warmth threaded through it, the burn of honesty that doesn't ask for forgiveness. I open my mouth to argue, but the sound dies when I realize my heart's still hammering, not from fear, but from proximity. He notices. Of course he notices. His hand is still at my collar, loose, but there. I can feel the heat from his glove through the thin cotton of my shirt. Breathe, he says. I do. Air shoves against my ribs, bringing with it the smell of steel dust and human skin. The tang of guilt rides the edges, but it's clean. Earned. You came here hunting monsters, he says softly, and you found me. That mean you're done? I'm not sure yet, I say. You're not what I expected. Few of us are. He releases me, and my shirt falls back against my chest, like a curtain closing. Now you know what's behind the door. So decide if you still want to chase ghosts, or help feed the living ones. He turns away, giving orders to someone to check supplies, lower the lights. The omegas start moving again, quieter now, like a machine restarting after a long pause. I stand there, breathing him in, every note of it, iron, guilt, tea, and something unspoken that lingers between apology and invitation. He doesn't look back when he says, "Next time you follow me, bring a flashlight." Or trust me enough to ask. I don't answer. But when I leave, the air of the hallway feels thinner without him in it. Morning at 9 circles doesn't start. It grinds awake. Weights slam like punctuation marks. The scent of chalk and metal thick enough to chew. Fighters circle each other on the mat, bare feet squeaking against vinyl. The place hums with adrenaline and ego. I'm halfway through alphabetizing the new fighter forms when Ash Drux appears beside my desk like a ghost in a hoodie. You've got 2 options, he says. Keep spying on me from your swivel chair, or learn how to breathe properly. I breathe fine, I mutter. You breathe like you're being mugged by air, he says, and walks away, clearly expecting me to follow. I shouldn't. I do. The training room feels colder without the crowd. A few fighters linger, wrapping hands, sharing jokes that smell like sweat and caffeine. Ash crosses the floor, taps a spot on the mat. Stand there, he says. I drop my scarf, kick off my shoes, and step onto the mat, trying not to notice how big he looks when the world is stripped down to white lines and open space. So what is this? I ask. Interrogation through Pilates? Breathing, he says. You can't think straight if you don't let oxygen do its job. I think fine. You think constantly, he corrects. There's a difference. He folds his arms, studying me like he's adjusting settings on a stubborn machine. When someone hits you, the body locks up, instinct. But if you breathe into it... He steps forward, close enough that I can feel the warmth of him. It hurts less. That sounds like the kind of thing people say before they punch you, I point out. Observation skills, accurate. His fist moves. Slow enough to warn, fast enough to make my heart jump. I flinch back. The punch stops an inch from my shoulder. See? He says, you froze. You forgot to breathe. Most people freeze when a 6-foot wall of sarcasm swings at them. You signed up for field work, he says, tone easy, but there's a flick of pride in his eyes. Breathe in. Again. I obey this time, inhaling through my nose. The air tastes like metal dust and coffee. He shakes his head. Not from your chest, he says. From here, and then his hand is on me, broad, firm, pressing lightly against my stomach. His palm radiates heat, even through the thin fabric of my shirt. Here, he repeats, voice lower now. You breathe from here. The world narrows to the warmth under his hand and the scent of him, black tea and sweat, and a hint of smoke. My lungs forget the concept of cooperation. He notices, of course. His mouth curves. Focus, detective. I'm focused, I say. It sounds like a lie even to me. He doesn't move the hand yet. In, he says quietly. Hold it. Now let it go. Good. Again. For a minute, the air between us sinks. His breath, mine, the rhythm of movement and stillness. The sounds of the gym fade into a hum, gloves hitting pads, a faint echo of laughter. It's grounding, annoyingly grounding. I exhale. He drops his hand, steps back, rubbing his neck like he's the one who needs a moment. Not bad, he says. You almost look alive. I'm filing a complaint for emotional damage. He grins, faint and genuine. Noted. Silence stretches. There's something about being this close to him. The sense that if I breathe too loudly, the air itself might decide to confess. He pulls off one glove with his teeth and tugs the other off with his free hand. The motion is too casual to be careless. His fingers are scarred, the skin on his palm rough, darker at the edges. Ever seen one of these? He asks. There's a mark burned into the base of his hand. A small circle with a line through it, like a brand that forgot to heal. It's old, I say. It's supposed to be. He flexes his fingers, the scar whitening, then darkening again. Clan mark, back before 9 circles was legal. Syndicate? He nods. I was one of theirs. Until I wasn't. I wait. The air between us feels tight with things unsaid. I was the kind of man you came here hunting, he says finally. Before I learned that hiding people is harder than hurting them. The words hang there. They don't smell like lies. They smell like iron and regret, and that faint, dry honesty that never asks for pity. I swallow. What changed? He looks at his hand. A debt, he says, and the right kind of guilt. When he slides the glove back on, something in me settles. Not trust, not yet, but the quiet understanding that danger doesn't always come from the monsters. Sometimes it comes from the ones who stopped being monsters too late. He meets my eyes again, the faintest smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. Lesson over, that's it? Unless you want me to teach you how to duck, I'll pass. Smart. I turn to leave, but he adds, almost casually, next time you snoop around my basement, tell me first. Saves me the trouble of catching you. My chest tightens. Half embarrassment, half adrenaline. Maybe I just like testing your security system. He chuckles, low and warm. Then congratulations. You've passed the stress test. As I grab my scarf, I catch the lingering trace of his scent. Leather, tea, and something that shouldn't be comforting but is. Breathing suddenly feels harder to forget. The file doesn't look dangerous at first. Just another beige folder wedged between invoices and maintenance requests. Until I notice the watermark. A faint symbol stamped in silver, shaped like a crescent enclosing a gear. The Beta Omega Council. The paper smells like starch and lemon polish. Too clean. The scent of a room where decisions are made by people who never have to live with them. My fingers twitch, wanting to tear it open and burn it in the same breath. Inside, transfer receipts, sealed reports, and a list of rehabilitation facilities that don't exist on any map. One line repeats on every document. Recipient, Drux Enterprises Security Liaison. My pulse skips. Drux. It could be coincidence. It could be bookkeeping. It could also be the worst answer possible. The next afternoon, I sit in a narrow office at the district legal department, pretending I don't smell the rot behind the air freshener. The man across from me doesn't offer coffee. Prosecutor Rowan doesn't do hospitality. He does precision. Gray suit, gray eyes, gray morality. He slides a photo across the desk, the emblem from my folder. Where'd you get this? Does it matter? I ask. It matters, he says, because the council funds more than half the city's regulatory boards, including mine. So you're telling me to drop it? I'm telling you to be careful which walls you yell at, he says smoothly. Some of them have friends. He leans forward, lowering his voice. You're working for Drux now, aren't you? His name's on half these transactions. He's not. I start, then stop, because what exactly is he? He's not what? Rowan presses. Corrupt? Connected? Capable? I breathe in, trying to catch the edge of deceit. The office is full of it. Polite lies, bureaucratic evasion, but not from him. The words themselves are neutral. It's what sits behind them that stinks. Fear. Fear that's been deodorized into professionalism. He's trying to stop them, I say finally, not sure if I'm defending Ash or myself. Rowan's smile is thin. That's what they all say. The city turns metallic after midnight. Wet asphalt and old rain. I leave the building late, folder tucked under my coat. My head aches from holding too many truths at once. By the time I reach the arena, the smell hits first. Feral panic. Not natural. Manufactured. An aerosolized pheromone. Sharp. Electric. Too sweet on the tongue. It burns my throat like bad sugar. The corridor is empty, but the lights flicker. My hand goes automatically to the stun baton clipped at my belt. A sound. A shuffle. Then the guard from the day shift steps out of the shadow. His eyes are glassy, his jaw tight. He reeks of chemical fear, but his body's too calm. Controlled. Hey, I start carefully. You okay? He lunges. Instinct flares. I duck, twist, but he's fast, too fast. His swing connects with the wall beside my head, plaster exploding. The air fills with dust and adrenaline. I can smell the synthetic push under his skin, the kind used in pheromone experiments. Obedience enhancers. He's not attacking me. He's being used. He grabs for me again, but before I can react, something slams into him from behind. The impact is a solid thud, followed by the hiss of air leaving lungs. The guard collapses, out cold. Ash stands over him, breath steady, knuckles bleeding. The scent of him cuts through the chemical haze, leather, smoke, black tea, grounding, infuriating, real. Do you make a habit of getting ambushed in hallways, he says? Or is this a new hobby? Nice timing, I breathe out. I live here, he says dryly. I hear things. Like unauthorized footsteps past midnight. He kneels beside the fallen guard, checks his pulse, frowns. Dosed, he mutters. Synthetic fear. Council grade. The word council coils in my stomach like wire. You know about them. He looks up. Everyone who's lived long enough knows about them. Some of us stopped pretending not to. We drag the unconscious man to the storage alcove, my heart still pounding, my nose burning from the chemical scent. I want to accuse him again. How deep are you in this? But the words won't come. There's no lie to smell, only exhaustion. Later, we end up on the roof, the city breathing below us. Lights, smog, sirens. Ash leans on the railing, wind snapping his hoodie string against his jaw. You think I'm one of them, he says without turning. I don't know what to think, I admit. You smell like guilt, not corruption. That's almost flattering, he says. I step closer, watching his shoulders move as he exhales. Why help me then? Why risk it? Because you would have come anyway, he says. His voice softens. That's your nose, Kris. You'd chase a scent until it killed you. You don't need me to lead you there. The wind shifts. He smells like rain on metal. I want to believe him. I almost do. But somewhere below, the city's machinery of lies keeps grinding, and the air still tastes faintly of fear. It starts with a door that isn't supposed to exist. Ash stops in front of a concrete wall at the far end of the basement, the one I'd walked past a dozen times without noticing. No handle. No keypad, just a faint, circular groove in the wall, drawn in white. Chalk. He presses his palm against it. The air shifts. Something clicks, deep inside the wall. Then the outline brightens, glowing faintly like frost catching light. The slab slides open with a sound like sandpaper against stone. "After you," he says. I hesitate. The scent of the place bleeds out. Cold earth, iron, burnt magnesium. It smells older than the building itself. I step through. The room beyond is wide and bare, its only decoration a massive pattern drawn into the floor. Concentric circles, marked with sigils that sting the back of my eyes when I look too long. Chalk lines, but dense, precise. The air hums faintly, not sound but something beneath it, like the buzz of truth waiting to wake up. "What is this?" I ask. "Insurance," Ash says. He takes a piece of chalk from a box and kneels, tracing over a faintly smudged line. "Old thing." The arena was built on top of the ruins of a pack hall. They used these circles to seal their vows. Demonic magic? I joke weakly. Pack magic, he corrects. Which is worse. He glances at me. "You can smell lies. These lines can burn them." He finishes repairing the ring and stands. "We've had leaks lately, words getting out, the kind that put people in cages. So we're doing this my way." He motions for the others to step forward. Mira, Lis Yan, and two of the trainers I barely know. They form a loose circle inside the markings. I stay at the edge, pulse picking up. "You want me to—" "Stand where you are," Ash says. The circle reacts to intent. "You'll know when it's listening." I breathe in. The smell of chalk and dust thickens, sharpened by ozone. My skin prickles. The center of the circle flickers faintly, as if it's tasting the air. Something inside me answers. I don't mean to activate it, but my nose catches a ripple, a half-truth buried under nerves. The scent twists metallic, and suddenly pain bites across my palm. Hot, brief, like touching a live wire. I hiss through my teeth and look down. A faint burn mark, pale white, blooms on my skin. Ash watches. "It chose you," he says quietly. "You're the listener." "Lucky me," I mutter. The circle hums louder, now fully awake. The sigils pulse once. Heartbeat, heartbeat. Ash steps forward first. "Ash Drux," he says, voice steady. "I swear I've hidden no one from this team. I've betrayed no one's safety." The circle glows soft gold. No reaction. "Clean." "Mira Kell," Mira says next, palms open. "I swear I never sold information, not even to flirt for gossip." A faint flare of blue. Harmless. She grins. "See? Pure as caffeine." Then Lis steps up, lips pressed thin. "Lis Yan," he says. "I swear I've never betrayed this place." The circle tightens its light around him. For a moment, nothing. Then, a hiss, and his sleeve smokes where the light touches it. The smell hits me before the sound does. The sting of guilt, mixed with resignation. Lis doesn't flinch. "Well," he says dryly. "That answers that—" Mira gasps. "Lis." Ash's hand shoots out, stopping her. He looks at Lis. "Why?" Lis exhales through his nose. "Because some people don't get to say no. They have a sister in a rehabilitation facility run by the council, and every week a letter arrives reminding them she's still breathing. For now." He turns his palm upward, showing a small brand just like Ash's, faded but still angry. "They used to own me too," he says. "Now they rent." The circle's glow dims, its anger spent. My palm throbs again, but the scent of lies fades, replaced by the flat, bitter smell of truth told too late. No one speaks for a long time. The air hangs heavy, like the pause between confession and forgiveness. Then I hear my own voice. "Truth isn't a weapon," I say. "It's a burden." Ash looks at me, steady, unreadable, then carry it with me. For a second, I forget to breathe. The circle seems to echo him. The light ripples once, like approval. Mira kneels, starts erasing part of the chalk with her sleeve. Guess we're all in this together now, she says softly. Liz gives her a tired half smile. You say that like it's a good thing. It is, I say, before I can stop myself. At least, it smells like honesty. When we leave the room, Ash lingers at the threshold, one hand brushing the doorframe. The chalk lines fade behind him, leaving only faint smudges on the stone. You shouldn't have had to feel that pain, he says. I've felt worse, I answer. At least this one told me something real. He looks down at my burned palm, then meets my eyes. Don't get used to it. Too late, I say. The wall slides shut, sealing the circle away. The scent of chalk lingers between us. Clean, sharp, temporary. The kind of honesty that hurts just enough to keep you breathing. The city press is already circling. The council's propaganda machine leaks headlines like oil, illegal fights under legal name, Drux empire under investigation. By noon, reporters are loitering outside 9 circles, and the smell of panic threads through the building, acrid, electric, contagious. Mira does her best to deflect them with charm and a clipboard. Liz barricades himself behind legal paperwork and caffeine. And Ash turns colder, quieter, a storm wearing patience like a coat. I find him in the security room, staring at a wall of screens. The footage loops in silence. Fights, bets, training, people moving like data points. His reflection on the glass looks carved, not human. You've read the warrants? I ask. Twice, he says, without looking away. They're waiting for one mistake, one false move, and the council gets to say, I'm proof that Omegas shouldn't be trusted with power. He turns to me. They'll come for you too. I cross my arms. I can handle myself. His eyes narrow. That's not the point. No, I snap. The point is, you've been running this like a dictatorship. Nobody breathes without your permission. His voice sharpens. I keep people alive by control, Kris. It's not a flaw. It's logistics. And what am I? I say. Logistics too? Another stray you hide behind locked doors? His jaw tightens. Don't start. Why not? You think I can't smell it? You're terrified of losing control, of anyone choosing for themselves. Better control than chaos, he bites out. You think freedom keeps people safe? Ask the ones we buried. That's not safety, I say. That's captivity with good intentions. He steps forward, the space between us shrinking to a heartbeat. His scent rolls over me, smoke, iron, tension. You don't know what you're talking about, he says, low and dangerous. And you don't get to decide what I know. I throw back. You're not. Don't say it, he warns. My handler. Something snaps in his expression. Not fury. Something roar. I'm not a kennel, Kris, he roars. The sound bounces off the walls, startling even the monitors into static. I don't cage people. I protect them because no one else will. The silence afterward is brutal. I stare at him, breath shaking, and realize my hands are clenched. His are too. 2 predators circling an invisible truth neither wants to touch. We don't speak for a long time. Just the hum of the monitors, the flicker of surveillance footage. The room smells of sweat, adrenaline, and smoke from Ash's temper cooling. Finally, he drags a chair back with a scrape and sits, rubbing the bridge of his nose. You think I like this? He mutters. You think I want to be the bad guy in my own damn story? I sink into the opposite chair, exhausted. You're not the bad guy. You're just allergic to vulnerability. Occupational hazard. We both laugh, but it sounds more like an exhale than humor. My head throbs with the remnants of the argument. My nose burns with the sour ghost of fear. Not his, not mine, just the building's collective nerves. That's when the door flies open. Mira bursts in, holding 2 mismatched mugs like a peace offering and an accusation all at once. You two, she declares, are idiots. We both look up, dazed. One of you can't smell worth a damn, she points at Ash, and the other can't think past his nose. She thuds the mugs down on the desk. So drink, shut up, and remember that you're supposed to be on the same side. She looks at me, then at him. Honestly. The sexual tension's suffocating. Either fight or fix it. Mira, Ash warns. Tea, she says sweetly, sliding the mug toward him. For your blood pressure. Then she's gone, leaving the door swinging and the faint scent of peppermint behind her. Ash and I sit in the wreckage of her diplomacy, and after a second, I start to laugh. Quietly, helplessly. He tries to glare, but the corner of his mouth betrays him. Peppermint, he mutters. She's weaponizing tea now. She's not wrong, I say. About which part? Both. He huffs a sound that might be a laugh. The tension drains, inch by inch. The air between us feels fragile but clean. We sit like that for a while. Two men too tired to argue and too stubborn to apologize. Outside, thunder crawls along the skyline. The storm's coming, political and literal. Finally, Ash reaches out. Not commanding, not hesitant. Just there. His hand finds mine on the edge of the desk. He doesn't squeeze. He just lets it rest, warm and heavy, grounding me to something real. For once, I don't pull away. The monitors flicker. The city hums, and, for a rare, impossible moment, everything inside the cage feels still. The tournament was supposed to be a distraction. Clean fights, big bets, shiny PR to prove that 9 Circles had nothing to hide. Instead, it smells like the end of the world. The crowd is already thick when I step into the corridor. Neon banners pulse overhead, the hum of voices rolling like thunder. The scent is chaos, adrenaline, alcohol, grease, sweat, but something sour seeps beneath it. Not the sharp, sudden kind, the kind that waits. Prepares. I follow it. Down by the security gate, a guard stands too still. His pulse is racing. I can smell the cortisol on his skin, that coppery edge of someone who knows what's coming. He's pretending to watch the crowd, but his radio hand shakes. His scent cuts through everything, fear slicked with obedience. I walk up beside him. You all right? He flinches. Fine, sir. Just, crowd's big tonight. You're lying. My voice comes out low, steady, and it stinks. He opens his mouth, but before the words form, his radio hisses. A coded click twice, and his pupils dilate. That's when I know. Ash! I shout, already moving. But the explosion beats my voice to the air. The concourse erupts. Not a full detonation, just a shock grenade, designed to scatter, not kill. The glass panels tremble. The crowd screams and surges. Then the arena's emergency lights flicker, plunging everything into red. Smoke floods the corridor. My ears ring. The chalk symbols painted near the ring, the protective lines Ash restored weeks ago, begin to glow, reacting to something they were never meant to withstand. Council agents, dozens of them, disguised as paramedics and cameramen. I smell their equipment before I see them. Sterilized metal, synthetic, pheromones masking intent, the sickly sweet tang of tranquilizer gas. Ash barrels out of the tunnel with a few of the fighters at his back. Get the Omegas out, he yells. His voice cuts through the chaos like a blade. Take the north exit. The traitor guard moves, fast, too fast, pulling a concealed taser. I catch the scent before I see the spark. Ash, left! He spins, blocks with his arm. The taser snaps, and he slams the man into the wall. The smell of burnt ozone and singed cloth fills the air. Ash swears under his breath, his sleeve smoking. Then another wave hits. Smoke grenades, rolling across the mat. The white lines of chalk catch fire, curling into molten spirals. The air turns acidic. I taste it in my lungs. Go! Ash shouts. Move. He grabs my arm, pulling me through the haze. The contact is brief, but his scent grounds me. Smoke and leather and blood. I look down. His forearm is bleeding, deep but clean. "You're hurt," I start. "Later," he growls. "Follow your nose. You said you could find safe paths? Do it." And just like that, I do. The air becomes a map. Fear has a direction. It moves, clusters, expands. The corridors hum with it, but beneath the panic, I find a trail of clean breath. The rescued omegas from before. They're hiding, waiting. I follow the faintest trace of lavender soap and human warmth through the choking smoke. "Left!" I shout, guiding the group through a service hall. "The vents will pull the gas the other way." Ash limps beside me, herding the stragglers. The emergency lights flash, painting him in bursts of red and white. He looks less like a man, and more like a ghost made of resolve. Behind us, another explosion shakes the building. The floor vibrates. Dust rains from the ceiling. Mira's voice crackles over the comm. "South stairs are blocked. The council's closing in from the loading docks." "Then we go down," Ash replies. "Sublevel 3. There's no exit there." She protests. "There will be," he says grimly, meeting my eyes. "Trust me, I do. Because every other scent in this building screams death, and his still smells like fight." We reach the service tunnel that feeds into the old supply maze. The chalk dust from the earlier wards coats the floor. It catches fire again when Ash's blood drips onto it. Lines of light snake outward, sealing the path behind us like glowing veins. The agents bang on the door we just crossed. The air smells of steel and fury. The noise fades as we descend. The rescued omegas cling to each other, whispering prayers or curses. I keep inhaling, tracking the one scent that matters, the faint, steady pulse of Ash ahead of me. When we finally stop, the tunnel opens into a storage bay lit by a single emergency bulb. My lungs burn, my head rings. Ash slumps against the wall, blood running down his sleeve. "You're insane," I tell him. "Worked, didn't it?" His smile is a grimace. "Get them to the safe room. You're not staying behind," I snap. "Someone has to close the hatch. I'll do it." He shakes his head. "You're the nose. I'm just the noise." Before I can argue, he reaches out, warm, steady hand against my shoulder. "Breathe, Kris. You'll need it." Then he turns, dragging a broken pipe to jam the door as the chalk fire dies. I can smell the pain rising off him, raw iron and salt. But underneath it, no fear, just the clean, stubborn scent of conviction, and I realize, for the first time tonight, that I'm the one who's scared. The courtroom smells like disinfectant and fear. Rows of journalists line the benches, murmuring into microphones, their perfumes struggling to cover the scent of nerves and ambition. The council members sit at the prosecution table, pristine as porcelain. Every one of them smells like citrus polish and stale deceit, that chemical sourness that coats the tongue. At the center of the room stands the spectrometer, the city's new miracle of truth. A glass orb nested in gold filigree, humming faintly, suspended by magnetics. When someone lies, it reacts, distilling pheromones into visible light. A moral barometer for the public eye. I take the stand, right hand still bandaged from the fire. Ash sits behind the defense table, shoulders squared, his expression cut from stone. He's wearing a suit that doesn't quite fit. His arm is wrapped from wrist to elbow, blood seeping faintly through gauze. The air around him hums with quiet strength, smoke and leather, edged now with antiseptic and exhaustion. The bailiff gestures. "Mr. Fall, you're sworn in." I nod. "I am. Proceed," the judge says. Her perfume is all roses and authority. "State your occupation," the prosecutor says, not looking up from his notes. "I'm an independent investigator," I say, "specialized in sensory analysis." He smirks. "You mean smell?" "I mean truth," I correct. And the courtroom titters. He gestures toward the defense table. "And you were working for Mr. Drux?" "Temporarily. Undercover. And what did you discover during your employment?" "That the council," I say, has been funding illegal rehabilitation centers for omegas, facilities where people are conditioned, restrained, erased. The room murmurs. The prosecutor waves a hand, bold claims. You have proof? Yes. I point toward the orb. And a nose. Laughter ripples through the crowd, but it dies quickly when the orb flickers, soft amber light responding to the tension. I focus on the line of council members. They reek of it, I say quietly. Fear, guilt, rot covered in perfume. Lies smell sour, synthetic, like plastic left in the sun. Truth burns clean. The orb flashes red. Someone gasps. Explain that reaction, the prosecutor demands. The spectrometer, I say, reacts to the chemical signature of deceit. Someone in this room is lying. And it's not me. The council rep in the center, Director Han, silver hair, perfect suit, visibly tightens his jaw. The red light pulses again, brighter now, haloing his seat in warning. His scent hits me like acid, panic, ammonia, denial. The audience erupts. Cameras flash. Order. The judge barks, banging the gavel. The orb dims reluctantly. Hours stretch. I recount everything. The shelters under 9 circles, the rescued omegas, the staged attacks. Every detail corroborated by security footage, by scent, by survival. When they finally call Ash to the stand, the room shifts. Even the air listens differently. He stands slowly, his movements careful. The light from the orb glances off the scar on his hand. His clan mark, old and dark. The prosecutor circles him like a shark. Mr. Drux, are you admitting to harboring fugitives from the council's custody? Ash's voice is quiet, roughened by smoke. Yes. Gasps. The orb doesn't flicker. The prosecutor pounces. So, you confess to aiding criminals? No, Ash says. I confess to saving them. Saving. The man repeats, mocking. You expect us to believe that? You, an ex-member of the underground syndicate, decided one day to play hero? Ash's eyes lift. Not one day, he says. The day I realized I was rescuing people from a system I helped build. The orb glows gold. I was part of them, Ash continues. The council's cleaners. We took the ones they called defective. I thought I was doing the city a favor. Then I saw who they sent back. The ones who didn't survive the treatment. He swallows, jaw tight. So yes, I saved them because I was one of the people they needed saving from. The room holds its breath. The light inside the orb steadies into soft white. Pure truth. Even the judge looks shaken. Continue, she says, quieter now. Ash glances toward me. I built 9 circles to hide them, to give them a place the council wouldn't look, under blood, noise, and pride. The only place the powerful never stoop to search. His tone changes, softer, and they found it anyway. Later, when they play the footage from the arena fire, when the screens show the chalk, circles blazing, and the people being led through smoke, the crowd falls silent. Someone records it. Within minutes, the video leaks online. The arena that saved us trends before the hearing ends. By the time the verdict comes, the air has changed. The council members are pale, the red light around them still flickering. Charges stack like bricks. The judge reads the final line. All accusations against Ash Drux and 9 circles are hereby dismissed. The council's conduct will be subject to federal investigation. The applause breaks like a dam. I don't join it. I just breathe. Deep, clean, the way he taught me. Ash turns toward me. Our eyes meet across the chaos. His mouth shapes something halfway between relief and disbelief. When the reporters close in, I slip through the side door before anyone can stop me. Outside, the city smells different. Rain's coming, but for once the air isn't tainted. The streets buzz with headlines, truth spreading faster than lies can follow. Ash finds me under the awning, blood cleaned, tie loose. You ran, he says. You hate crowds. He huffs a laugh. Fair. We stand there, watching the traffic blur into light. For the first time in months, there's no tension in the air. No hidden sour note. Just ozone, concrete, and the faint warmth of tea rising from the cup Mira shoved into his hand before he left the courtroom. You did it, I say quietly. He shakes his head. We did it. Feels strange, I admit. The city smells clean. Don't get used to it, he says. Cities lie. It's what they do. Yeah, I say, smiling a little. But sometimes they tell the truth loud enough for everyone to hear. He looks at me for a long moment. The rain finally starts, washing the heat from the street. He lifts his face to it, eyes closing, breathing deep, and for the first time since I met him, Ash Drux smells like peace. The arena is empty again. No crowds, no noise, no thunder of fists against the mat, just the smell, smoke and chalk and something like afterlife, soft and burnt around the edges. The ash on the floor catches in the low light, the air still faintly warm from what it survived. The city has gone quiet above us. Somewhere, Mira's probably making lists again. Liz is rewriting protocols just to stay angry at bureaucracy. And the world, for one night, isn't hunting anyone. Ash is standing in the center of the ring. He's not wearing gloves. His hands are bare, resting at his sides. A faint red mark around one wrist where the bandage rubbed off. His shirt sleeves are rolled, exposing the old clan scar. Healed, but never gone. I step closer, my scarf forgotten around my neck. The cool air brushes my throat. My lungs feel strange, like they've been holding something for too long and finally decided to let it go. He hears my steps and looks up. Couldn't sleep, either? I didn't try, I say. The city's too quiet. It feels like it's waiting for something. It is, he says. It always is. He doesn't smile. He looks lighter, though, like someone finally set down a weight he didn't know he was carrying. I walk until I'm a few feet from him. The mat under my shoes still smells faintly of burnt chalk, the scent of promises kept the hard way. Did they finally leave you alone? I ask. For now, he says. Tomorrow, they'll find new headlines. They always do. He looks around the ring, as if seeing it for the first time. You know, he adds quietly, I used to think this place was my punishment, that keeping it running was a way to pay for what I'd done. And now it feels like something worth fighting for. The silence stretches. I can hear the hum of the emergency lights, the soft rhythm of both our breathing. You lost blood, I say, because small talk is safer than honesty. Just enough to make me interesting, he says. You still can't tell if the world smells better or I'm just used to it. He huffs a soft laugh. You ever going to take a compliment? Only if it comes with context. Fine, he says. You did good, Kris. You saved people. I shake my head. We both did. He watches me for a long moment. The air between us feels thick, not with tension, but with everything unspoken since. The beginning, the suspicion, the fear, the slow, stubborn trust that grew out of it. Finally, he steps closer. You know, he says, voice quieter now, you don't need protection anymore. I never asked for it. I know. His gaze softens. That's why you're the one person I'd give it to. I almost laugh, but something in his tone stops me. There's no arrogance there, no command, just truth, bare and simple. He takes another step, slow enough for me to move if I wanted to. I don't. What I mean is, he hesitates, searching for words. You don't need someone to stand in front of you. You need someone who'll stand with you, someone who knows what it's like to fight their own instincts. He looks down at his hands. The scars catch the light. You taught me that it hits like a punch, but a gentle one. The kind that knocks the breath out, only to replace it with something better. I say, quietly, You sound like someone who's been thinking too much. I've had practice, he says. I smile, tired but real. So have I. He studies me for a moment longer, then exhales, a sound like surrender wrapped in relief. Kris, he says, almost whispering, you don't need protection. You need someone who stays. My throat tightens. I nod once. With you, I say, I breathe deeper. It's not poetic. It's not rehearsed, but it lands like truth. Something shifts between us. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just real. He moves closer, slow enough that I can feel his warmth before he touches me. His hand comes up, rough palm brushing my cheek. No gloves, no hesitation. The contact is steady, grounding. His skin smells like smoke and steel. Mine answers with mint and rain. For the first time, the scents don't clash. They blend, warm and cold, strength and stillness, opposites finding a rhythm. I lean into his hand. Careful, I murmur. You'll make this look like a moment. He smiles. Soft, crooked, the kind that unarms more than any weapon. It is a moment. Outside, thunder rolls over the city again, far but familiar. The arena hums under our feet, the same place that once hid the lost now holding something found. He doesn't kiss me. He just stays close enough to make breathing feel like a shared act. The air smells of smoke and mint, balance, peace, the echo of survival. And when I finally inhale, it's the first breath in months that doesn't hurt. It's been 3 months since the trial, and the city finally smells like rain instead of smoke. The report on my desk is short, for once. Case, the counsel, status, closed. Client, Mr. Ash Drux. Condition, alive, irritable, refuses compliments. I sign it, lean back, and breathe in the office. Coffee, chalk dust, and the faint citrus of Mira's productivity spray. She's across the room, scolding a pair of new trainees for flirting near the phones. This isn't a dating arena, she declares, then glares at me and Ash. And that includes management. Ash raises an eyebrow without looking up from his paperwork. I'm management now? Only when it gets you yelled at, I say. Lisyan walks by, carrying a clipboard, and his eternal disdain. Fantastic. You've started a cultural trend, he mutters. Half the city's lawyers are sniffing each other before signing contracts. Olfactory verification, they call it. I grin. Progress smells weird, Liz. Progress smells like lawsuits, he replies, and disappears into his office. The arena hums below us. Legal, loud, alive. Fighters train under clean light. The crowd cheers for something honest this time. No shadows, no lies. Just breath and motion and noise. Later, Ash and I sit on the upper bleachers, watching a match play out. He's got his sleeves rolled up again. I've finally stopped hiding behind a scarf. No words, just air. The ring glows under the lamps, a circle of chalk and light. The smell is simple now. Metal, sweat, a trace of tea and mint. Clean. Human. Ours.